Hey, I'm Dorcas, speaker, author, and transformational healing coach. For the past 5 years, I have been joyously healing from a life of abandonment trauma, rape, suicidal ideations, molestation, and so much more. Now I get to live in my purpose while empowering you to embrace the joy of your own healing journey. I unapologetically spoke my truth and I did the work. Now it's time to go deeper as I empower you and let you know that healing is so worth it as we go beyond the healing.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Healing podcast.
Yes.
This is your girl, Dorcas Pittman, aka Coach Dorcas, and I am your host. Listen, here at Beyond the Healing, we are here to have some real, raw conversations that will we hope to bring you a little bit of hope and a few practical tips as we go deeper beyond the healing. Tonight, I am honored to have Charles Johnson, Pastor Charles, the successologist,
Yes.
and all speaker, author, all of those things, here with me as we continue on this journey of beyond the healing. So I'm excited to jump right in.
Okay.
But for those of you who don't know who I am, like I said, I am Dorcas Pittman, aka Coach Dorcas. I am a speaker, author of Breaking the Silence, Christianity and Mental Illness, and a transformational healing coach where I help women move past their pain, um, embrace their truest identity in Christ so that they can live their most abundant life beyond the healing. So, how do you want me to address you, Mr. Charles, Pastor Charles? I want to honor your title. So how do you want to address you tonight?
Say it one more time. You
Oh,
froze for just a moment. Say
okay.
it one more time.
How do you want me to address you? Is Pastor Charles, Brother Charles? How do you, Charles? Look,
Charles is fine. I answer to
okay.
all of them. So whatever one comes
Look,
up feels
hey,
easiest for you.
I got to honor the cloth. I got to honor the cloth. And
Oh.
so y'all, how Pastor Charles, that
Okay.
I have to. That's just me. This is me.
Yeah.
I'm from the South, and
Right.
so that's just me
How we
being
do?
respectful.
Yeah, I
So,
get it. I totally get it.
why don't you introduce yourself to
Okay.
all of our viewers?
Okay. Well, let me say thank you, number one, for allowing me to be able to talk to, help, support you as well as your audience. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I kind of honor and a privilege. I don't take it for granted. But like you said, I am a pastor. I'm a bishop. I'm married. Been married for 32 years. I have two sons, five granddaughters. Yeah. Um, Let me see what else. The name of our ministry, our church, was the Well Church. We're in North Carolina. Um, I have a bachelor's of theology. I have a master's of divinity. I have 2 associate degrees. And I say that just so people kind of understand that I'm just not walking onto this just guessing. No,
Mm.
there's been a lot of research, and a lot of experience. It's one thing to get knowledge, but it's something else learning how to apply that knowledge.
Oh
We're in
yeah.
the information age. Information is everywhere. Okay? So getting the information is not that big of a deal. The big deal is how are you going to apply that to your life?
Mm.
And where I am currently in my life, all I want to do is add to my life. I don't have time to, well, let's just try it. Just, throw it at the wall, see what sticks. No, I I I don't have a whole lot of time on the planet. So everything has to be moving in a particular direction. So everything that I've been blessed to be able to do has all been designed, it's all been connected, it's all been a part of a journey. The good, the bad, the ugly, the happy, the sad, all of it makes up the journey. So I'm excited to be here. I'm honored to be here. And anything I can do to add value, help, encourage, empower, I'm here for it.
Thank you so much. You see, look, you see why I invited him. And for one, the successologist.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you trademark that.
I've thought about it. You're not the first person to say that too. And people ask me, well, why do you call yourself a successologist? And this is no offense to anybody that uses coach, like you use coach on the front of your name. I didn't want to use that. I didn't want to, just be a coach, But so I went to the dictionary, and I said, okay, well, what has embodied me my whole life? I've always talked about success. When I was teaching Sunday school at 11 years old to 3 and 4 and 5 year olds, from there all the way up to last Tuesday, I did a workshop for the North Carolina Juvenile Officers Association. So I've been doing this my whole life. So success became part of it. And then, you have a cardiologist. So the ologist on the end means that person has studied and they are an expert in this area. Doesn't mean they're not learning anymore. Doesn't mean that. But this person specializes in this. Cardiologist, they specialize in your heart and cardiovascular and all that kind of stuff. So I specialize in success. So that's where successologist came from. So it's not something I just put on because I ain't got nothing else to do. This is who I am. This is who I am.
I love that you broke that down, because you have, and it's funny that I have coach in front of my name, because God literally told me I was called to speak first.
Ooh.
Yes. And so he gathered me, earlier this year. He said, yes, you are a coach, but I called you to speak first. Because it is your voice that people are called to. And that's the thing about it. And it's just, but coach just, when I think about coach, and I think I love football. I'm from the South. I'm an SEC girl. I'm a college football girl. I watch NFL, but when it's college football, it's a whole nother situation here. But when you think about a coach, think about a football coach. Most football coaches have played the sport.
Right.
This is, they didn't just read all these things from a textbook. And so even though God called me to speak as a coach, and operating in a coach, I have those lived experiences. I played the game. I'm still playing the game on this healing journey. And so, me identifying as a coach, it's not negating that I am called to be a speaker, because I have to speak in order to coach you. I have to speak in order to give you the tools and the strategies in order for you to be the best that you can be as you play. I call it a game, but as you navigate your journey of healing, as you navigate life on the other side of your healing. And so it's like you said, you have embodied success your entire life. And so you are, you specialize in success. This is something that you have gained knowledge, whether it was lived experiences, whether it was through your studies, no matter what it has been in, you have lived, you have embodied the study of success, the art of success, lived success. And so I love the way that you broke that down, because you have so many people in this world calling themselves something and really don't embody that thing.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And I get it. I don't know if you've ever watched the show 600-Pound Life, or My 600-Pound with Dr. Now and all them.
Funny story. My 6-year-old son, he was like, my husband and I, we fall asleep to My 600-Pound Life every night because he has to have the TV on. And so my son was like, Mama, something's wrong with you and Daddy. I said, what are you talking about, son? He said, y'all just sit up and watch these people. And so,
now, with Dr. Now he's not as obese as his patients are. But Dr. Now, I mean, he could stand to lose,
about
few of them
20 pounds, 15, 20 pounds. But the way he come at him, I'm like, okay, Dr. Now.
Right. And it still does not negate his expertise.
That part.
Even and he's still, if you're going to be anything great, you're going to have to do it consistently. And then you're going to have to allow yourself to grow and expand in that area, which means you got to do some learning. You got to get around people that don't have your problem, but they have your solution. You're going to have to do several things to grow that thing in you. So for people that want to do it, want to be coaches, and want to do this, that, and the third, it's great. Oh, thank you. We can never have too many coaches, too many churches. We can never have too many. However, please, 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 please have some experience with you that you can tap into things that you've done, things or methods, strategies, techniques, whatever they are, things that you have done. Because after a while, the book knowledge stops. After a while, the certificate or the degree or the diploma, it stops after a while. And if you have no experience after that,
experience.
if you have no personal sweat in the game, you won't go very far, because you're just depending on somebody else's theory, experience, all that kind of stuff, where you should be giving them yours too. You should be saying how you made it through.
And that's the thing. That's what, when God gave me the title of Beyond the Healing, I wanted to bring, it couldn't just be me talking about, okay, this is what life is like beyond the healing. I had to bring people who help other people navigate their life beyond the healing.
Right.
Because they may come to you after they've navigated through a healing journey. Okay, now how do I operate in and be successful as an entrepreneur, as a faith-based entrepreneur? How do I do those things?
Yeah.
Or you may not even be an entrepreneur, and you may say, okay, I'm on this journey of healing, and I want to embark on this journey of healing, but I don't know what my life is gonna like. How am I supposed to navigate after the fact? And so you have to surround yourself, and you have to be in good company, and you have to have some skin in the game also,
right,
so that you can continue to be successful and continue to be nurtured
right,
as you're navigating these journeys in life, because we all have different journeys we are taking, and you have to still be able to keep going beyond that last point.
Exactly. Albert Einstein said the person that created the situation or the problem cannot be the same kind of person that solves that same problem. You have to become a better person. When you're on this journey and you've healed, and the healing starts from the inside out. It's not like an event. It's not like, no problems with conferences, but going to a conference and you sling oil, you fall out on the floor, and then, you're supposed to be better now. It's not that. This is something that's ongoing. You will always be on this journey in some shape, form, or fashion, always. But even after you get through, that first little bit of that journey where you're kind of feeling good and you feel healthy and you're feeling like, oh, I'm getting myself back. You have to maintain.
Yes.
You have to maintain. And you also have to start to consider how I even got here. What happened? There's a law called the law of cause and effect. Wherever there is an effect, there's always a cause. Where there is a cause, you're going to find an effect. So if the effect has been detrimental to you, what was the cause? What happened? Now, a lot of people, they will say, well, that happened to me when I was a child. Well, you need to go back and get that. You need to go back and work on that thing.
Yes.
Because that is the thing that you have been carrying your whole life. And what we say is, oh, that's just how I am.
No, it's not.
That's just how I talk. That's just how we do. As if it's permanent. Like you can't change it. Like you can't get rid of it. Yes, you can. You have to become a better person. Go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, you finish your statement.
You have to become a better person. And when you start to become a better person, start to notice the things and the people that you run into. Your healing pulls in a different group of individuals. It brings in a different group of individuals. So it can't be just about everybody else. When I was going through my first level, I guess you call it, of healing, I dealt with low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-image. Okay. And also doubt and fear. Now, and I was doing all of this while pastoring,
Hmm.
doing revivals, doing all this stuff. I had all these things going on. So what had to happen was, number one, I had to identify the actual mountain. Go to the scripture, Jesus talking to the disciples, and he says to the disciples, you see that mountain over there? See that mountain? Speak to the mountain. Da, da. Jesus literally gives us the roadmap to the healing. He says, okay, one, point at the mountain. Do you see the mountain? Now, because, I'm a spiritual guy. I've been in church my whole life. So we know how to fake it. We know how to be looking at something and call it something totally different. So Spirit was saying to me, no, don't spiritualize it. Don't call it a demon. Don't call it some kind of imp. Don't call it a curse. You have low self-esteem, low self-worth, and low self-image. Charles, that's what it is. A lot of us, we don't want to face what it is. We want to call it a demon. We want to call it witchcraft or spiritual attack or something. No, boo. You've been dealing with this your whole life. After you got saved, after you became an apostle, and all that, you still got it. And it's keeping you from really experiencing the success, the anointing, the
abundance,
the fulfillment, the joy. That thing is standing in front of you. And until you call it what it is, it will never leave. It might go to sleep, but it'll never leave. So once I dealt with it, pointed it out, then Jesus said, speak to it. So I started speaking to these mountains. I started telling them, hey, look, I'm not listening to you today. I know you're here. I can feel you, but I'm not listening to you today. So I started speaking to the mountain. And then Jesus said, don't just speak to it. He said, command it.
That part.
I'm not asking for permission. I'm not putting this up for a vote. I'm telling the mountain, this is what you're going to do. This is where you're going. And, truth be told, there were days where the mountain didn't move at all. There was no movement whatsoever. And then there were days where you get little, you see little rocks falling off. And then some days the Joker would shift altogether, But it's a part of the journey. And after I went through that process, I started recognizing something. I started recognizing the people that I call my friends. I started recognizing even some issues within my own family. I started recognizing some things, most importantly, about myself. I started recognizing I had fears that weren't mine. Somebody taught me that.
Y'all.
Somebody taught me how to do that. That's not my fear. And the other thing was anger. Yes, bishop, pastor, yes, me. Dealt with anger, but the anger wasn't even mine. I was mad, upset, and could not put my finger on it. For why? Because it wasn't mine. Why are you mad? So the more healed I got, my friends changed. My money changed. I think I even lost some weight.
Because you weren't carrying the weight of everybody else's stuff.
Oh, not the end, beyond your healing process in whatever area of life that may be, is a new, fresh perspective, new opportunity to do things you've never done before because that thing was holding you. Now you can say certain things that thing made you bite your tongue on. Now you can actually say it. And you can say, even to yourself, one of the problems I had, things I had to get healed from, while pastoring, was loving myself. I couldn't even look in the mirror and say, you know what, Charles, I love you. I mean, sincerely do it. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't sincerely do it. And Spirit said to me again, how is it that I can love you, Charles, the way I do, but you don't love you the same way I love you? I was like, Lord, wait a minute. So I started practicing. I would go into the mirror. I said, okay, I'm going to give myself 7 seconds. And I'm just going to look at myself. I mean, I'm talking about morning breath, everything. Look at myself and tell myself, I love you, Charles. But no, don't worry about the reason. I love you. I love you. That was a
Listen,
big deal for me. But go ahead. I've been
listen.
doing a lot of talking. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. And you know what, that needed to be said. Everything that you said needed to be said because it gives everyone a new perspective of your journey. They give people, they give them a deeper look into your journey.
Right.
And that's the as a pastor, because you say I was dealing with all these things as a pastor. But once you deal with it, like you said, the first step whenever I deal with my clients, you have to call an ace a ace and a spade. You have to acknowledge it for what. I grew up playing spades. I told you I'm black. I'm a black chick. I'm a country girl.
Yeah.
You know how you gonna call an ace and a spade.
Right.
There's no more dressing a pig up in lipstick in a wig and thinking it's pretty. Because guess what? It is going to continue to show up and show itself for who it is. And I tell people, you have to give yourself grace to allow God to show you.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be public. You don't have to tell everybody about it.
No, because that's the thing about it. And like you said, a lot of the things that we carry don't belong to us. And once you acknowledge it, once you accept it, because you acknowledge it, you're like, okay, just like, you have to accept that you have been operating in this capacity all these years, and it wasn't your crowd.
Yes, like, it wasn't even mine.
It wasn't mine. And the most empowering thing I've ever done, when I told somebody, I am tired of carrying the weight of your decisions. I am giving it back to you. And my grandma used to say, it is your red wagon. You can push it or pull it. I don't care because it ain't mine.
I ain't heard that in years.
So,
boy.
I was raised by my grandparents. So they're gonna hear a lot of these sayings as we continue to go beyond the healing. But that was the most empowering thing, because we have been conditioned. It is learned behavior that you're supposed to take on the weight of everybody else's
especially
crap.
women.
Especially black women, because we had to take care of the master. We had to be the wet nurse. We had to for the master's children, and be his and then we had to be the nurse our own kids, take care of our own households as slaves. So it has been indoctrinated within us from generations and generations. And so we take on the weight. I tell somebody, I said, black women are not bitter. They are not angry. They are tired. Because they have been carrying the weight of everybody else. And nobody has said, are you okay? She feels selfish for even asking herself if she's okay. But I'm gonna tell you this. I am not my mentor, Coach Tina, and that's how I met Pastor Charles. In Raleigh, North Carolina, a few years ago, I was a part of the Disruptors Mentorship. She said, not just me, but me first. And in saying that, God said, it's okay to be selfish, not selfish, because there's a difference. Because being selfish, meaning you're just taking a little bit of time for yourself. Being selfish means everything is for you. You don't care about anybody else or anything. But through my healing journey, I've learned that if I'm good, everybody else is good. I tell people, you don't get what's in my cup, you get my overflow. And that overflow is it's that good stuff. That is because what's in my cup belongs to me. But I had to go through the journey and acknowledge and identify the fact, like you said, I felt unworthy. My mama left me with my grandparents, and all of my cousins telling me, oh, that's why she don't want you. Everybody is surrounded by their parents but me. And I'm the one who, even though, like I said, my grandparents loved me the way they knew how. They provided a roof over my head, clothes on my back, and food for me to eat. They were giving me what they knew to give me based off of what they were given. Based off of what they were given. But I had to understand and begin to realize that ain't what it is, though. Like, this is not what I want for myself. This is not what I want for my life, because I live, because they miss out on so much, because they stayed in this indoctrined mindset that you just supposed to survive your entire life.
Yes.
And that was indoctrined from through in us through slavery, because they just survived the best way we could. So you just in survival mode.
Right.
But now I'm like, if I don't have overflow, I have nothing to give you, because
Right.
what's in my cup belongs to me, and God, in my prayers and in my healing, God, I wanted to, when I start tapping into what's in my cup, I want to make me uncomfortable. Make me uncomfortable, because I know I am tapping into something that I need for myself, and I am worthy enough for it.
Right.
I deserve to take some time to take care of me. I
Mm-hmm.
deserve to be selfish, because before there was any other responsibilities, it was me and God.
That's
It was
it.
me and him.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and dealing with all of that, and having and adopting that God perspective. I talked about this last week. Adopting that God perspective and shifting your perspective. God gives us a blueprint of healing, and when you have a God perspective and you start looking through things from the God eye, the spiritual eye,
Mm-hmm.
not negating what's happening in the physical, because those are just, that's where we live. We are part flesh.
Yeah. Right.
But still looking at things and adopting that new perspective as you're going through that healing journey, when when you begin to navigate this journey beyond whichever level of healing you're on,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes easier, and you are lighter, because you've released the weight of
Yeah.
all the baggage that you've been carrying that never belonged to you in the first place.
Right. One thing I think, most of my clients, students, are women, for whatever reason. They're women. But the one thing I have seen is that, and I have to convince, I gotta almost kind of sell it to them, that if you are the one that's holding it together, could be house, kids, ministry, business, but you are the person that's really holding everything together. Wouldn't it make sense to take care of that person? Especially if, God forbid, you lose your mind. Nobody else got no hope. Nobody else has no hope. So then, if you need to go take a break, if you need to go, get nails done, massage, if you need to go somewhere and just holler and scream, or go to the gun range and pull a few rounds or whatever,
Do it.
do that. Because you loving you does not mean you love somebody else less. You taking care of you does not mean you're not taking care of somebody. You are the priority. I know in church we're programmed not to give ourselves the priority. You're always for somebody else, always giving it to somebody else, always giving your gift over here, always supporting over there, always putting your energy in somebody else's stuff. And then when it becomes your turn, you can't find nobody.
That part.
There's nobody there to do the exact same thing that you did. So we got to do what the Bible says. Do not throw your pearls to swine. Now, I'm not trying to call nobody no pig, but let's look at the characteristic of a swine. They eat whatever. It doesn't matter. It
They
doesn't have to
roll
be.
in it.
Thank you. However, and they don't have a perspective of what is good,
Nope.
what is valuable. That's why they compared the pearl, because the pearl,
It's
it goes through agitation, and it's valuable. So the things that these ladies are going through in this journey, don't just be just willy-nilly, just giving it out to everybody that want to know. No, don't do it. I told this lady, she hung up on me. I told this lady, I said, just because you have a gift doesn't mean you have to give it. And she was like, that's not God. Click. I called her back and I said to her, ma'am, look, if Jesus refused to heal someone because there was no faith in the city, you can refuse to offer your gift to anybody that does not appreciate the pearl that you are and that you're going to offer. Point blank, period. Now, you don't have to believe me. You can just continue to go down that road. 2 + 2 is 5. Have a good day. Do your thing.
Do your thing. But the thing about it is, if you do that, you can't be mad at anybody but yourself.
Exactly.
You can't be mad at anybody but yourself, And so that's just it. But then you want to blame it on everybody else. But it's like, no, you have to take care of you. And that's one thing, I value me.
Yes.
Because before I became Dorcas, the woman, the Dorcas that God intended for me to be this entire time. Like this woman that you see today, this woman who breathes a different type of air.
Wow, that's good.
And that's why I tell people, I just want you to experience how crisp the air is on the other side. Like once you've dealt with all of the crap, when you've really healed God's way, you breathe differently. Why? Because you don't have this weight on your chest.
Yes.
You don't have the weight of your insecurities. You don't have the weight of the actions of others. With me, the weight of being molested, the weight of abandonment, the weight of being insecure, the weight of being raped, the weight of addiction, the weight, all of these things. Your girl was barely breathing.
Wow.
But the air, and it's not like the air just changed, the physically, but it's like the weight on my chest, my lungs can expand the way that they were meant to expand.
Yeah.
And because my lung capacity has increased, my endurance has increased. My my perseverance has gone to a different level. And I can push through things that before would have almost taken me.
Yeah. One of the things that I teach people that are in healing or going through the process of healing, even coming out of healing, whenever you physically wake up in the morning, what do you do? What's like your automatic habit? Tony Robbins calls them rituals. It's things you do without even thinking about it. And I said, okay, try this method. First thing, when you wake up in the morning, always be thankful. You have a list of 5, 10, maybe 15 things you kind of run off that you're thankful for. Next thing is ask yourself these 4 questions for your day. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to be today? Okay. How do I want to feel today? Do I want to feel strong? Do I want to feel weak? Do I want to feel sexy? Do I want to feel smart? How do I want to feel? Number 3, what do I want to give today? I want to give support. Do I want to give love? Do I want to give money? Do I want to give a laugh? What do I want to give today? And then lastly, what do I want to receive today? What do I want to get out of today? What will really make you feel like, man, the day was a good day? Good Lord, it was a good day. What will bring about that response in you? When you answer those 4 questions, especially after you're coming through the healing, because when you're in the healing, sometimes it's so painful, you don't have the capacity to even come up with the answers for these. But the more healed you become, answers start coming. Because now I've let go of that every weight that sets aside us, that pulls us away. We've laid those things down. So in the morning, don't wait till you get to work. Don't wait till the kids get up and you got to get them going to school. When you wake up in the morning, do it then. Because you and I both know, got kids and grandkids and all that kind of stuff. You got to find socks, and your husband don't where his tie is. And a whole bunch of stuff. The world starts invading your space.
Yes.
So at the end of this healing, and I would say in certain areas of the actual healing process, ask yourself these questions. Because when you're asking yourself these questions, these are not about other people.
They're about you.
They're about you. And I know I had a blame list a mile long. I could blame a whole bunch of people. But it didn't change anything. And I wasn't taking personal responsibility for my part. Be it large, be it small, be it real or imagined, I played a part. I was a part of I was in the equation. So then, whenever I wake up in the morning, this is how I start my day. Because the day is mine. It doesn't belong to other people. It's my day. I heard this guy, I was listening to this audio, and this guy said, you know, your past is yours. You can frame it however it is you want to frame it. Some people can look at their past and they be like, oh, it's horrible. But then there are other people that will look at their past and say, you know, it was rough, but I made it through that, Mama Jam.
But I made it.
I'm here.
I'm here.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Healing has nothing to do with religion. Healing has nothing to do with gender. Healing has nothing to do with how much money you make. Healing has nothing to do with what denomination you are. Everybody needs healing. Might be different stuff, but healing is still needed.
Healing is still needed. And that's the thing about it. You know, everybody has something.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be as traumatic,
Mm-hmm.
but to be honest with you, the thing about it is we all just, if we here, we survived a global pandemic.
Right. Still breathing. Still breathing.
Like, that was traumatizing in itself.
Right.
And it's all about you.
Yeah.
I tell my clients and I tell people, you can no longer blame anyone on the way you are. You can no longer say, I'm this way because my mama was this, or my daddy was this, or this happened to me. Because God has given you a choice.
Yes. Yes.
He has given you a choice through allowing you to continue to live, to decide whether or not you are going to heal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can no longer,
wow.
You can say it, but it'll be a bold-faced lie.
Right.
You can say it that, oh, well, I'm this way because of this. No, baby, you're this way because you're choosing to remain this way. You're choosing to continue to carry the weight of somebody's words who really don't have the authority to even speak any type of stuff in you.
In you, period.
I said listen, the way God that day, and this was really the turning point in really my healing journey with my mom.
Right.
And I tell this to people. God, I said, God, I thought I forgave her. Why am I still why do I still feel this way, God? I thought I forgave. Why do I still have these feelings? He said, because you're expecting something from her that she does not have the authority to give you. And that's validation.
Wow.
Because I never gave her the authority to validate you, because I validated you when I told you to be. I validated you when I brought them together, seed and egg, so that you can be birthed into this world. So therefore, your earthly parents don't have the authority to validate you. That's why you have to take them out. You have to remove them from being idols.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You have
I
to.
know.
When
growing up, my mom, she pastored for 50 plus years before she died. And I had a good relationship with mom. It just wasn't necessarily a close one. You know what I mean? It just wasn't a close one. So she passed due to Alzheimer's and dementia. And when we first got the diagnosis from the doctor, my sisters and I kind of got together, and my dad, and we were kind of, well, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna handle it? Da da da. And then it dawned on me that, you know what? Because of her disease, she won't even remember. So why hold something against a person that physically can't even bring it back up again? So Charles, you're gonna have to let that go, buddy. You're not gonna win that fight, bud. So you're just gonna have to be like, Mom, whatever it was, I forgive you. It's no big deal. I just want to love on you for as long as we got you. You know, that kind of thing. Because I think people like using their traumas or the things they've gone through as emotional currency. My wife gave a great talk the other day about emotional currency. how people will use, they don't want to be healed, they want to be paid attention to. They're craving this attention, and their trauma or whatever happened to them gets them that attention, gets them that the self-pity that they're looking for. They want somebody to just be it's like on Facebook.
Oh yes.
Somebody will put, at so-and-so hospital, pray for me.
They just want attention.
That's it.
And the question now, my question becomes, why do you want so much attention? Now I'm about to go there. Why is it that you crave so much attention? And like you said, that's why some people don't want to heal, because like you said, oh, well, you did this to me. Well, you did this to me. And it's like they crave in any type of attention, but their trauma is the only identity they know.
They have, right.
That's so the only identity.
So when you get healed,
you
don't care who sees you and who don't. You don't. I don't care. I am not trying to. The thing when I got healed, before I got healed, my mentality was prove it to them. You got to show it. Because pastor, and then you got that title of bishop and all that stuff. Be on TV a couple times. So now you got to be, show everybody what you got. You got to, make sure everybody see you shine, and you got to flex on them sometimes. But when I got healed, I didn't want that no more. I didn't feel like I needed to do something or be something.
Turn a flip.
Right, to get something. Well, you're not gonna put it on Facebook? No, because it's my vacation. Why am I showing everybody else where I'm going? You see, one thing I learned too, and this was difficult for me in the beginning, was to recognize that this was an individual journey. This is me, and it's about me. Takes nothing away from my wife, nothing away from my family. But God sees me, and this is my walk and my journey. So if other people don't understand why you have probably pulled back a little bit, or why you don't go to certain events anymore, or you don't come to this anymore, it's because I'm just not, I don't have to have that. I don't have to be there. I don't have to be around that.
No. And that's the thing about it. I tell, I say, it's okay. We can heal in silence, but we don't suffer in silence.
Ooh, where is my pen on that one?
We heal in silence. We don't suffer in silence. Because the thing about when you heal, because what irks, I'm on my healing journey. I'm on this 40-day fast. Boo, sit your behind down somewhere, because you just want attention. You ain't healing. You ain't healing, because if you were really healing, you wouldn't be out here saying all this for somebody to give you some likes and some shares. And girl, I'm praying for you. Girl, get your healing on. I'm on my healing journey too. Sit down somewhere.
Right.
Please. We heal in silence.
Yes.
Because one thing about a caterpillar, he goes in his cocoon, and he allowed God to be God.
Yes.
And allow God to transform him into who he was meant to be. And the next time he shows up, he has emerged as a new creation.
Yes. One of my mentors, he said, Charles, do you know that trees grow in two different directions at the same time? And I was like, no, I didn't know that.
I'm sitting here picturing the rings of a tree.
The tree grows in two separate directions at one time, but it starts down first. It goes into the dark.
The roots.
The growth happens in the dark. Nobody sees it. Nobody thinks anything's going on because it's in the dark. Even the people that put the seed in there, they're questioning that. Is that going to happen? Is it growing? What's going on?
What's going on?
Dark. But as soon as you see that first little sprig come up, you realize what was going on in the dark. Your healing does not have to be public. You don't have to make a conference out of it. You don't have to make, a whole big let your healing happen in the dark. So when people see that first little spread coming up and it's brand new and it's nice and green and it's strong, everybody gets excited. Everybody gets excited because they see something now. So just because people don't see it, don't mean it's not happening.
So I just God just gave me this visual.
Mm-hmm.
My motto is access to me is a privilege.
Good.
Access to me is a privilege. That's not me. That's just me. Access to me is a privilege. If you don't honor that God has allowed our paths to cross, and it goes both ways, because I expect you to have the same thought patterns about your own being, your own circle.
Right.
But I thought about how when you put that seed in the ground, it has to have sunlight.
Yeah.
Even though it's in the dark, the sun penetrates. You have to water it.
Woo! Getting run around.
The water is liquid, so in that state, it's able to penetrate the soil.
Yeah.
And there's nutrients in the soil. So it still has access to certain things. So that means you have to ask God to show you who should have access to you, that's able to pour into you, who's going to be that light to penetrate your heart, your being, your mind, while you are going through this healing process. I remember when I checked myself into the hospital. Let me tell you who knew.
Okay.
My mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my husband, of course, because he drove me to the hospital. My two best friends from college.
Okay.
And my aunt and uncle. My aunt is like my best friend.
Okay.
She's like, I tell you, like, she's the one who could blackmail me. I tell her, when God released the millions, I'm just gonna have you sign an NDA, because you just sign an NDA. But I knew those were the people. Oh, and my friend Kelly, who basically, when I got to the hospital, her husband is my husband's best friend.
Okay.
They, instead of having a regular vacation, met me at my house and anointed my entire house.
Wow.
Clean house. That was the sunlight. That was the water, and those were the nutrients in the soil.
Ooh.
And so that's the thing about it. That's why you have to be very particular, because if you put something in the ground and instead of putting water on it, you go out and put Kool-Aid or just Sprite, or you just put anything, it's not gonna grow, and it's not gonna become the thing that it was meant to become. So that's why you can't expose your healing to everything. You can't expose your healing to everybody.
Yes.
Because it might not be the right might not be the right environment for you to heal and become exactly who God created you to be.
Right. And we got to understand too that we are divine creatures. And we cannot assume that the people that you meet that speak to your issue aren't also sent by God to help you in your healing journey. Everything, this moment, what we're doing right now, is divine.
It's divine.
And we have to accept our divinity, that even this conversation, whoever's going to see this and watch this, they're not watching this by mistake. I know they like you, but their steps have been ordered to watch this, because this is divine. We cannot assume that the conversations we get into at the grocery store with a stranger, and they are asking you questions, or they are telling you their whole life story, you can't just say, oh, that's just, why are people talking to me? God is always trying to get our attention if we would pay it, if we would pay attention constantly. The people the phone calls, the posts you happen to see on Facebook, the TV shows you happen to watch, are all speaking to your healing, that thing that's happening in the dark. And as soon as we start paying attention, we can start to see God everywhere. Because even the trial, the trauma, whatever it was, God knew it. God's not surprised. God's not like, oh, I didn't see that coming. God knew it. And
He
these things,
qualifies.
yes.
He
And all these
qualifies.
things are putting together the dots to help you to become the absolute best person that he has designed you to be from the very beginning.
From the very
So,
beginning.
right.
And that's the part that we have to understand. And it's at my job, so many people didn't know. I don't like, oh, I would have never known that about you. I know, because I don't sit here and wear a t-shirt. Oh, I've healed from trauma. Oh, I'm this or I'm that. Like, when it comes up, it comes out. It's because it's a divine. It's God's strategy. And every time that I've had that it has come up in a conversation, it was because that person needed to hear it.
Yes.
And they said, like at one lecture, said, I would have never known that about you. And I don't even remember how. Most of the time, I don't even remember how it came up.
How it came up. Right.
And so,
right.
and that's the thing. Like, oh, I didn't know you have a magazine. Yeah, I do.
Uh-huh.
My thing is who is meant for. God knows what you need, when you need it, and how you need it.
Absolutely.
And He's gonna provide every last one of your needs.
Yes.
So you're gonna get the message when you need to get the message. When He know that it's gonna fall on good soil.
Yes. Clay, that's the truth. Lord knows. When
He's gonna yes.
I still pastoring here in North Carolina. You know, we can make arrangements on our light bills and phone bills or whatever. So I'm on the phone and I'm talking to the lady, and she said, "Well, Mr. Johnson, we can't do the payment arrangement for you. Okay, we can't do it." So normally I go, if I leave the house, I'm telling my wife, "This is where I'm going. This is where I'll be back." Da da da. This time I didn't. I jumped in the car, speeding down the highway, crying, mad. You probably heard the song before. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head.
Yeah.
Well, that day I got pushed. So I'm riding down the highway and I'm hollering and screaming at God, and I'm just going, we're arguing back and well, I was arguing. God was not.
He wasn't. He's just like, Lord, look at my
Right,
son. He's just a hot mess.
Just look at him.
Look at him. But hold on, pin there.
You don't even know.
The thing about normalize expressing yourself, expressing your emotions, because God knows that what you're feeling. Say it
before you even know it. He knows
before you know it.
Before you think them. So go ahead and be honest with God. I don't in like this, God. This ain't. I didn't expect this.
What we doing, bro?
Right. I told God, hey, look, if you don't want me to do this no more,
let me know.
Please tell me, because I'll stop today. But what happened was, about a month in, going back and forth with God, giving the ultimatums and all that kind of stuff.
The ultimatums.
He said to me, Proverbs 23:7. Now, a lot of people would be like, oh, I got my word. I got my answer. I was like, no, I don't need no scriptures. I don't want to hear no songs. I need a direct answer. Hear the scripture again. Hear the scripture again. And I said, God, all right. Now, if you can speak to Moses through this burning bush, I declare you can give me something direct. Scripture came back up again. So I said, fine. I'll go read it. I'm not a reader of the Bible. I study it. So I just can't read a text and not look at different words and look at history and culture and all that kind of stuff. So I get it. I start to study it. And where it says, whatsoever a man thinketh in his heart, that word heart there in the Hebrew is actually like lev, L-A-B. Some people will say lev, L-A-V. It means, it's not beating heart. It actually means mindset. It means thinking, thoughts. So, for as a man thinketh in his thoughts, one translation says, so he becomes. He said, Charles, it's not my fault. You thought yourself here. I was like, God, are you serious? And as soon as I said, okay, you're right. There's a saying that goes, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And just like you said, I started meeting all kinds of people. And all of them were pouring into me things about mindset, things about healing. Charles, tell me about your family. Tell me about your mom. Tell me about this whole religious thing that you're a part of. Tell me about all that. And they didn't care. They didn't care if I was a pastor, if I was a bishop, if I was black, short, tall. They told me. One coach, I hung up on. She made me so mad. I hung up on her. Of course, I called her back the next day, and she said, "Yeah, I know. I pressed the button on you because, Charles, you have something great, but you're not allowing yourself to be great." I was like, man. He starts bringing in all these people that, just like you said a little earlier, challenge you. They make you uncomfortable. They make you answer to the words you just used. They make you answer to the thoughts that you were having. They make you answer to these things, but those things make you better. My wife, we had to take her to the hospital. This was several months ago. Took her to the hospital. She's having pain. Goes into the emergency room. Doctor comes in, and he says, "Well, Miss Pam, I hear you're hurting. Where is the pain?" And she points to where the pain is. And this joker goes and presses on it. He goes and makes the pain worse. I'm like, "Sir, don't you see she's hurting?" He said, "Yes, I understand. I understand. I just had to make sure that she was telling me the truth." Because some people will tell you it's your arm, but it's really their foot. They don't want to admit it. So what does the doctor do? What does the coach do? What does the
He makes you
successologist do?
uncomfortable. That pain point, he pushed.
Ooh, press on that pain. Press on it. So you can understand, okay, this is not normal. This is not good.
Oh my God. That's where like God allows you to have triggers so that you can know the areas of your life that still need healing.
Yes.
Somebody told me, "Oh, did that trigger you?" I said, "It didn't trigger me because I'm healed from it."
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a scar is there. The womb is not open. Because
Yes.
scars are there to remind you. I had surgery when I was 11. Got an exclamation point on my stomach. I can push it all day. It don't hurt.
Right.
But it's still there. I said, if you're still being triggered by something, that means that wound is open. Because guess what? If I have a paper cut, the wound is open. So if I put some hand sanitizer on, it's gonna hurt. That means that thing is open and need to heal. So God allows us to have triggers so that we can know the areas of our lives that are still open, that is still bleeding out, that is still wounded, that we need to pay attention to. So I avoid triggers. No, baby, you need to lean into them triggers because guess what? That's where your healing is.
Exactly. If you want to know where you need to pray and fast and all that, your triggers.
Write down your triggers.
Write down
your triggers. That's the thing. When you go through physical therapy, you go through whatever you have knee surgery, the physical therapy hurt because guess what? That joint is not healed. But once it heals,
yes,
you can run, you can move better. And so life, that's my thing is God, as I navigate through life, and I'm navigating where I've released so much. God had I say you took your healing. This healing journey was accelerated because bruh, you came at me fast and heavy. You was like, go now. And that's how I know that God had to get me ready. And God is accelerating things because he has to replenish the kingdom because there's so many people. There has been a changing of the guard, and this is me to go there. There has been a changing of the guard before COVID. Before COVID. And there were so many deeper underlining spiritual meanings to COVID that people really, if you have ears to hear and eyes to see, that you will pay attention to. But God has to accelerate some journeys because he has to replenish, because the people he put in place the first time, they were not paying attention to the triggers. They were wearing the mask. They weren't comfortable with getting uncomfortable so that God can show them themselves. They didn't want to face the fact that they were angry, that they were pastors, that they were bishops, that they had low self-esteem, that it was putting makeup on it and said, "Oh, I have these," hiding behind the titles. Hiding behind the titles. But in order for God to really use you in the capacity that he put you on this earth to do, you can hide behind the title because the title is not you.
Say that.
The title is not you. God did not create you for the title.
Yes, that's right.
No, he created you for his kingdom.
Absolutely.
And our number one purpose in life is to advance the kingdom of God.
Yes.
And he gives us gifts, and he gives us titles, and he gives us assignments so that we can advance the kingdom of God. And so me, Beyond the Healing, I have one agenda and one agenda only. That alone, that is to advance his kingdom. And whatever I have to do, whatever area I need to heal, and however many times he got to show me, because I chose to put in the work and start to do it. God, I released the weight, and my perseverance muscle has gotten stronger.
Yeah.
My endurance has gotten stronger.
Yes.
My identity has become clear. So when I said, God, send me, I'll go, I know who he's sending.
Yes. Oh, isn't it
I
good to
know
know
him.
who you are versus who
I
they
know who,
want
yes,
you to be?
who they want me to be, and who, and or the trauma I allowed myself to become because I didn't know any better. But once you learn better, you do better.
Do better.
And as a child growing up, I was just surviving in whatever situation that was put before me. So I didn't know any better. I was a product of my environment. But once God showed me the way, once God surrounded me with people and I began to do the work, it became clear. When you learn better, you do better.
Yeah.
And now you become responsible. So I'm going to tell y'all, if you're watching this podcast, you're responsible
You're
now.
responsible now.
Because you heard the words and you got it. So I don't know to tell you, you're responsible now.
And this was divine. You're supposed to
It
be
was
here.
divine. God knew what you needed, when you needed it, and how you
Yes.
needed it. And so now you have something. The seed has been planted, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna speak it. It is on fertile ground because it was something that you had been looking for.
Right.
And now you are responsible for doing the work to navigate it, either your own through starting your healing journey, continuing to navigate your healing journey, and even though healing is continuous, navigate beyond whatever healing you've already done.
Yeah. One thing, and I'll say this, I'll let you go. God said to me, I was reading a book. Well, I say reading. I'll actually listen to them. It's easier for me to listen than it is to actually physically read it.
Yes.
But the author said most people, they measure forward. They look at where they are and how far they have to go. And said typically that's depressing. That's not very exciting. He said, but it's more beneficial to measure backward, to see where you started and where you are now. It changes everything. Because if you're going to, measure forward, all of us got a long way to go. We got a lot of stuff to heal, a lot of stuff to work out, a lot of stuff to get rid of, whatever. But the more exciting news is look how far I've come. That thing doesn't bother me no more. That person doesn't get under my skin no more. This situation doesn't rule me no more. This area, that title, what somebody said on Facebook, it doesn't bother me anymore. It just is what it is.
It is what it is.
Look how far I've come. And if I've come this far, I can go even further. Okay, I'm done.
That's it. Look, I was about to ask you if you had any final words, but you wrapped that thing, you wrapped it right on up. And I love that I love that way you ended it, because look how far you've come. And when I wrote my book, my daughter, she'll be 10 next month. I said, one day my daughter's going to read this book. And she's going to say, if my mama can go through all of this and become that, there is absolutely nothing I can't do.
That's good to me.
And that's what breaking generational strongholds look like.
Yeah.
That's what changing the narrative for those who come behind you. That's what life beyond the healing is all about. Pastor Charles,
thank you so much for this.
The Successologist. Look, you're gonna have to come back. We're gonna have to, extend this conversation, because I know there's a lot more. And listen, y'all, we are just beginning.
Yes.
This is episode 2 of Beyond the Healing podcast, and all gas, no brakes.
I know, right?
All gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes.
Yes.
Because God is calling you higher, and it's time for you to go.
Yes.
Well, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, follow, and share. Share this out to somebody that you know needs a word of encouragement as they are navigating this life. And one thing I always leave you with: give yourself grace, because you won't always get it right.
Yeah.
The grace that God gives us
Yes.
when we don't get it right. Until next time, I love you with the love of the Lord, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Yes.
Be blessed.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week for another episode of Beyond the Healing.